I'm going to kill myself. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because of this. So Panasonic have actually done it. They've literally swapped away with every other camera company like Sony, Canon, and what's the third one? The Nikon thing. Now I'm really glad that everybody in the photography community, especially reviewers on YouTube, that got a chance to review the camera. I didn't get one, and I think it's because of my subscriber count. You can help, by the way, by subscribing and hitting the like button. Thank you. So for once, all the photography YouTubers are now anonymous. The S5 Mark II is the best camera on the market today. Thank you, thanks for watching. That's it. That's all I have to say. And no, anyway, seriously, if you've never used a Panasonic LUMIX camera, you really don't know what you're missing. In terms of ergonomics, practicality, functions, video features, photography features, these are just the best cameras. I mean, it's hard to say that there's anything better than a Panasonic LUMIX. A Micro Four Thirds, a full frame regardless, and even the lens lineup is kind of top of the line, especially the Leica lenses. And the only issue that LUMIX cameras had is, well, the contrast detect autofocus, which is out of date. Nobody uses that purely for just main focusing, and that was their biggest Achilles heel, or just, you know, the bad thing. This is why people were going away from Panasonic. This is why I went away from Panasonic, apart from my LUMIX G9 that died on me. But if this would have phase detect autofocus like I have on the Sony here, that's it. That's the only camera I need, and it's a Micro Four Thirds camera. But in terms of video features, it's better than the full frame Sony, which is considered to be a very good, you know, photography video camera back in the day when it came out. I have the Sony Alpha 7 III. It's not the best camera, but you know, just the fact that it shoots 8-bit colors and I want to use some sort of log image profile. Here I didn't have this issue because this used to shoot 4K 30 or 60 frames per second in 10-bit colors, and I could use the Vlog flat image profile to get the best out of this camera. And I think in terms of dynamic range, these were kind of close, except for the noise, since it's a Micro Four Thirds. So now we have all of that in a full frame body with what is an outstanding phase detect autofocus, at least if I'm supposed to trust Gerald Undone and Casey Stern from Camera Conspiracies. I mean, they both are very reliable sources, and I like watching their videos, especially Casey's tests, which are kind of true to life. I mean, this is what I do as well, so I'm either in front of the camera, I'm moving in front of the camera, I can get out of the shot, into the shot, and well, the LUMIX S5 Mark II performed, I think, even better than the Sony Alpha 7III, which is kind of my favorite camera. I mean, I don't have it because it's too expensive, and I seriously don't want to spend another 4,000 bucks on another camera. But that would be my go-to camera if I was to buy a camera just for video. Now, I'm happy with photography features on the A7 III, but the A7S III is a video-centric beast of a camera, probably the best hybrid camera on the market that offers really good video feature qualities. Well, now the S5 Mark II is better. I mean, in terms of specs, it's not the highest performing camera, and of course it's just an S5. I mean, imagine when S1 Mark II or S1H Mark II comes out. I mean, that's probably going to just sweep everybody off of the dance floor, at least in this kind of mid $3,000-4,000 euro price range. Now, Panasonic is probably not going to be equipped with a stack sensor. I'm speaking this off my mind because I still think that Sony makes sensors for the LUMIX cameras, and of course they're not going to give their flagship stack whatever sensor. Which honestly, for like, unless you're a high production, you know, video creator, then, you know, that rolling shutter actually isn't that big of a deal. And that's the only thing that the stack sensor addresses, is the rolling shutter and, you know, the frame rates when you're taking photographs. But, you know, for video, I mean, everything that we have now is sufficient enough. And yes, the Sony does have more rolling shutter than my LUMIX G9, but I don't really notice it in my specific line of work. So what should I do now? I mean, should I like switch back to the LUMIX system? Now I have a whole bunch of Micro Four Thirds lenses that fit my LUMIX G9, and well, if I want to switch to a full frame LUMIX body now, which I would love to do, but having two different systems really just doesn't make any sense, since I've spent so much money now on the Sony system and I'm really happy with the Sony system. But I do need a secondary video camera, so what am I going to do? I think the best option would be, if you have any Micro Four Thirds lenses lying around and you've just given up on LUMIX for you know, contrast detect, phase detect, autofocus, well then chances are that the LUMIX G9 Mark II or the LUMIX G 11 or something would come out, and that would have face detect. And now if they just make an exactly the same camera as my LUMIX G9 but with that face detect autofocus, then problem solved. I mean, that's all anybody would need, honestly. I mean, for YouTube and for YouTube making videos, and of course for photography, that the contrast detect autofocus was never that big of an issue. And if you're a professional sports, wildlife or documentary photographer, then of course you're not going to buy a camera that costs 2,000, 3,000 or 4,000 bucks. Probably you're going to go with the Alpha 1 or the Nikon Z9 or the Canon or something 5 III, I don't know. But for everybody else, I mean, this is where we are, around 2,000 bucks. And the fact that the S5 Mark II is going to be marketed at $2,000, which is less than the GH6 Micro Four Thirds camera from LUMIX, that's really weird. I mean, I know that when it comes to our lovely country in Europe here, probably going to be more than 2,000 euros, but still, you know, I mean, that's like really not a lot for a outstanding LUMIX face detect full frame camera. I mean, my god, I would switch to Sony. I'm sorry, Sony, but I would switch you. I mean, actually no, I would keep you for photographs and have that for video. Or maybe the Micro Four Thirds version of that, because I already have like all the lenses I need. I know everything from 7.5 to 300 millimeters Micro Four Thirds. That's like 15 millimeters to 600, so I can photograph and video anything. And the stabilization and the optical stabilization, and just, you know, on LUMIX cameras and Micro Four Thirds ones especially, oh, it's just awesome. It's just like the best that money can buy, the best that you can actually have. So these are my thoughts. You know, confused again. No, I've given up on LUMIX, and now I see hope. You know, I see hope. I see the best body, the best camera that LUMIX can offer, and all cameras from LUMIX are like that. And now it focuses continuously, reliably, the same as Sony. Actually, I think better than my Sony A7 III. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you going to upgrade your full frame camera, or you're going to wait for the Micro Four Thirds version of the LUMIX face detect? Let me know. I'm really curious. And I mean, just because I'm thinking about these things constantly, it's like weird, but you know, I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to start a debate down below if you don't mind. So thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, my name is Miro. Hit the subscribe button and we can talk about cameras, videos, anything that has the lens on. So it's like my life through a lens anyway. So thanks for subscribing, and thanks to everybody for hitting the like button. That really helps the video to be promoted. Bye bye.